Okay. Leslie asks, what edges have you teetered on and what showed up next?
What edges? Hmm. What edges have I teetered on? Well, I think there's been a couple of, um, I think early in the, if we, and I'm not just going to only limit this to this past race.
Hmm.
We go back to since the start. I think early in the race overall, I spent a lot of time worrying about the people that I was responsible for and worrying about making the right decisions on who was ready to do the different roles and all that. Um, I think I think there was definitely some times during that phase when I was teetering on the edge of this is not what I signed up for. This is not my dream was to sail around the world, not to manage a bunch of people that I don't know and to you know and what was on the other side of that was actually a chance to step back and see, much like what I talked about at the on the first question, is that actually helping those new people get integrated into our team and get right into the action meant that I didn't need to worry about those things and having the right people and those issues nearly to the same extent. And it wasn't really my responsibility to be worried about them. It was just my responsibility to make sure we had created a culture and help them feel comfortable themselves to be able to do whatever we needed them to do.
Hmm.
Um, so I think the edge there was, just not wanting to spend 10 months stressed and full of anxiety about other people's experience when
Hmm.
I had signed up to do this for my own experience, not, I'm not an employee being paid to create an experience for everybody else. I'm one of them, right? And so I think that was definitely an edge. And then on this last race, I think there was an edge, and I think I saw a question around how's my body holding up. But I think there was an edge around the physical part of it because I tweaked my back um, and basically had to stay in my bunk for about, wow, 12 hours, I guess, um, which meant missing a couple of shifts with my watch, which had not happened before. So that that worried me in the moment.
Hmm.
That was always something in the back of my head from the start of from when I started this whole thing, that that's the one variable that, you can take care of your body, you come here prepared, physically prepared, but there's a lot of things that can cause an injury on the boat. And that would not be a good way to end the race.
Hmm.
If it came to that. And so the initial reaction I had was worrying about how serious it was. And then, just sort of, did the right thing, took the time off, got some support from our medical team on the boat, and was able to gradually get back over the next 2 or 3 days to being able to be somewhat helpful again. And the crew was super, super great, and everybody stepped up, and we have good support on the boat. Um, so that's probably the other edge that comes to mind, is just sort of that sort of worrying about injuries and worrying about what you know about
Hmm.
not being able to continue on because of something that has happened.
Wow. I mean, what comes to me is like when in the first instance, it's really learning, that the best thing for everyone is for you to mind your own business. A little bit. I know that's been a huge lesson for me. And let everybody else mind their business. So you can cheer for people, but you can't control their experience or make it something that it's not. And I could totally see worrying about that, especially if they're your people that you're in charge of, in some
Hmm.
way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then the other, like with your body, right? I mean, when we give ourselves permission to really rest and really give ourselves grace and put down the sort of like, but what will they do without me kind of like feelings
Mm.
or whatever. And I think it's really, really, this has been my experience. It's amazing how fast we can heal, you know?
Yeah. 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 And you definitely hit on one of the ego parts of that, which is, yeah, are they going to be okay without me is sort of the first thought. And then thankfully, by this point in the race, I've learned, yes, they will. They'll be just fine.
Yeah.
Um, and, also seeing that, there, I didn't need to worry about judgment of others or anything like that. It was like everybody stepped up to say, how can we help? What kind of support do you need? you
Mm,
know, from a medical perspective, getting the right kind of care, like all of that happened very, very easily and very smoothly. And so there was no need to worry about covering up something that,
yeah.
and trying to tough it out it was, I need to deal with this in the right way and also come out of it in the right way and make sure I don't rush straight back into hurting myself again. So
Yep.
yeah, very good learnings for me, and those definitely felt like edges so far. Otherwise, everything else in the middle has been, yeah, everything I could have hoped for, really.
You posted a picture of yourself in this very adorable sun hat. And to me, what the word that just came to mind was contentment. Like here is someone who is so at peace with what's happening right now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was I don't typically like having my picture taken, but I liked the look of both how the energy that I had in that picture and the setting in the background was that's what I signed up for, is to
Mm,
experience just the joy of being out in this environment that we get to be in. And on the way into Vietnam here, I looked over to Mike and I said, Mike, it feels like yesterday I was sitting on the boat in Portsmouth and we were putting all the final touches on the boat, and fuck, we're in Vietnam now. Like, how did that happen? Sorry about the
no,
expletive, but
no.
it was necessary in the moment because it was like, how did that happen? Right? That's
Yeah.
a long way from Portsmouth, and yeah, and so yeah, I don't know why that came to mind, but it's been a very interesting journey so far. We have still a
Mm.
long way to go, but yeah, so far so good.
Yeah. Well, I have learned this over the whatever time that I've known you. Um, very, very, very rarely does like blue language come out of your mouth. And when it does, it means something.
Yeah.
It really does. So I thank you for that and for sharing that. That is wow. Wow, wow, wow. Whew, okay.